Hello, chaps. It's turn 91, and we won. I'm making this video about a month after the game actually ended or something, because I deleted the original video, because at the time I got banned from the Discord channel it was on for trash-talking people by calling anime facts, and that made me really mad. So when I made the video about the last turn, I ended up just ranting about trannies and Muslims. So this time I'll try to only talk about, maybe I'll talk about trannies a little bit this time, but let's actually talk mostly about the game. So yes, apparently when you win, it gives you vision over every province, but doesn't show you anything except like their income and the scales there. Which is kind of not very informative. So what happened? How did we win? Well, this throne, I think it was up here there was a throne. But a throne somewhere up here, I can't even remember where. Let's see. I think we have a scouting report. Where, oh my god, there's so many. Okay, go to province, yeah. So, Hruva, the abomination of desolation, destroyed this throne. Which is odd, because apparently Pan says that he actually had patrollers there and killed a Doom Horror with them the turn before. And he says that maybe, I can't remember what he said, I think he said he killed another one this turn and like Hruva somehow ate the throne without actually defeating the patrollers or even turning up. So it's very strange. However, he didn't complain too much. So I think that's an indication that we would have won here pretty handily anyway. With our mass regen. We didn't have, this wasn't our best army, but we had what, 100, a little bit more than 100 of these demons, and what were they going to be buffed with? We were going to go in with Fog Warriors, Mass Flight, Weapons of Sharpness, Army of Lead. I actually didn't have Mass Regeneration, I ran out of gems. Double casting Mass Flight for reasons known only to me a month ago. Did I have... Oh, I did have Mass Regen, I just needed to transfer the gems. So, I think Pan estimated that I would have won this anyway. So, it's not really an issue. Also, his army is still here. I don't know why he didn't do something with it. I think he gave up. I think people gave up, and my victory was slow and grinding. So, yeah, we won. When he ate that throne, it meant that we had 4 left, and as the thrones get eaten, 4 becomes enough to win the game. So we had 4 was enough to win. What else is there to say? Well, I guess I'll go through the messages. We have some pretty uninteresting stuff going on. What was our... let's do the blood slave count. That's always the best part of the turn, in my opinion. 52, 61... 71, 78, 98, 102, 142, 153, 161, which is pretty solid. Let's see, I think we lost... How many commanders did I lose? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12... No, okay. 12, 13, well, okay. It killed 111 and then it died. That's interesting. I better watch that. That's pretty funny. What's her gear like? So she just has a... this is where all her nature gems went. How annoying. Getting... Oh, maybe I shouldn't have given her the gift of Kurgi. But, because that taints her. What's she doing? Where'd she go? Celestial Chastisement. I've never heard of that spell before. What in the hell's is Celestial Chastisement? So she's blinking around. What is going on? I must have given her the auto-blinking boots. What is this? Gift of... What? 7 attack skill? 24 defense skill? What? What on earth am I looking at? 8 defense. Okay. Oh, man. But yeah, it eventually dies due to not having any life drain and not having any poison resistance. Very silly. What the hell is Celestial Chastisement? I'll have to look that up later. So yeah, we lost about a dozen commanders. So I'm glad that... Where are all these Raktapatas who are dying? They're all the ones that are getting killed for their research items. We're down to 1,000 research. I think I was up to almost 2,500 at one point. Income, this is probably a record high. Did we have any battles this turn? Nothing interesting. No, we had this. So we had our Raktapatas casting Leech. But yeah, these centaurs carved their way through the undead pretty quickly because there's 6 of them. An Ice Devil, I wonder what he had geared with. I don't really care though, because thugs die to Leech, and I have Leech everywhere. The Flesh Eater, the Barbed Tail, that's pretty vicious. Paralyzing poison. Huh. It's a pretty decent setup he's got, I guess. And the Maker of Ruins! How did we kill the Maker of Ruins? It's just with the Danavas. Yeah, the Maker of Ruins started munching on the Long Dead, and the Danavas flew in and just stabbed them. They're amazing units. And here's the worsening of the Cataclysm. Thank goodness we have a new Pantokrator now to protect things. And I'll just do a little overview of like the score graphs. So here's the province count. I'll leave this for a bit. Where am I? Okay, I'm this one. So as you know, from here I was the early leader. Who's this guy dying here? Must be Xibalba. So yeah, I start leading the game actually before I kill Xibalba. And then once I kill Xibalba, I'm clearly the biggest player. And that doesn't really change until what's this? So Hinnom conquers Yomi. Where's Yomi? Down here. So Yomi's down here, Hinnom's here. They're kind of even. Hinnom's a bit ahead, but then he comes into the lead. And Pan also comes into the lead. And this is where I really suffer, is when Pan and Hinnom are both attacking me. They are now the leaders by province count. But then I bring it back up, I counter their raiding. I think maybe this is where Pan attacks me, or maybe this is where Pan finally kills Abyssia and the other guy. And I'm sort of trudging through here. I think this is where the first Pan player subs out, probably. I'm not sure. Maybe this is. No, this is probably it. And this is where I really dunk on Hinnom after killing his armies. And yeah, shortly before the end, he's really losing it. And I'm rocketing ahead because I'm conquering Niflheim. I'm taking provinces everywhere. Here's the bit where Therados raids everyone, and then he goes back down because his raids weren't sustainable. He probably got a lot of useful gold out of it, though. Not much more to say about that screen. So forts. I was pretty slow getting up forts. Therados was far ahead. I guess that's just a Therados thing. And as before, when I killed... Oh, Xibalba only had 1 fort. That's pretty brutal. So it's not... So I guess this is where the video starts. The videos. Turn 37, I start building loads of forts. This is probably the bit where I'm summoning loads of forts. I can't remember how I did it, really. I think I alchemized for gold to build these, and then summoned forts later on. Early Age is a crazy place, huh? And then things just start to get static. Income! So, again, same story here. I'm doing fairly well. Game leader after killing... Actually, I'm not even the game leader after killing Xibalba. Oh no, I eventually am after the unrest goes away. Who's this guy? The red. So Abyssia was actually leading in income until Pan killed him. That's pretty interesting. He must have got some really good income provinces here. But I'm leading, then they raid me, and I actually never, not until the very end did I surpass Pan in terms of income. I was right to think that he had huge income to spam those guys. You know, if the Pan players hadn't subbed out and been wimps, they could have killed me with loads of cheap raiders. I guess they only have palisades, so they can't recruit them that fast. But even so, what else is there to say? Yeah, and Hinom's pretty solid too, until he starts losing. Gem income, I guess I was always ahead on gem income since, like, the early game. And this is a kind of a surprising one. I always felt like my research was pretty crappy, but it looks like with the Alquils and the Skull Mentors and the Lightless Lanterns and, of course, the Imp Slaves and the loads of Raktapatas, I was actually leading the research handily the whole game. I was afraid of Hinom's research, and he did actually get Conjuration 9, which may have been a mistake. He probably should have, maybe he should have prioritized other things. But yeah, that's interesting. I guess it shows that Lanka, even in Drain 3, is actually a very powerful researcher. Even leaving aside this game, where I was very lucky to have lots of fire gem income from Xibalba's capital and from some sites, you still have air, death, and blood. Very good research item paths. Research imps, I think, are very underrated. I think they're the best research item. Possibly better than... Yeah, they're way better than Lightless Lanterns. By the time you get Lightless Lanterns, you've already researched to Construction 6. Skull Mentors are not cost-efficient. Alquils aren't cost-efficient. Imps, they're early and they're efficient. They're amazing. I think they're Construction 2, like Alquils. Dominion... Yeah, pretty early lead. Who's this orange guy? So Machaka actually had the most Dominion early on. That's pretty interesting. I'm not... Well, is it interesting? I don't really know what to say about that. Army size. I think most of this is just a competition between my undead chaff and Therodos's undead chaff. And even Pan's undead, like, Mynad chaff. And Hinom. Is this Hinom? Yeah. Even he had a lot of long dead chaff. They really should do a separate... They should do 2 separate graphs. One for, like, mindless and well, not mindless. Mynads aren't mindless, I think. But they should do something to separate the wheat from the chaff in the army size, because otherwise it just gets dominated by whoever has chaff. And ascension points, not much to see here. So I guess this game wasn't really that fascinating in terms of I was ahead early on, and then I stayed ahead and built on my advantage and won very slowly. I felt it was quite fun killing all of those raiders. Pan, though, kind of wimped out on raiding me very early on. Maybe Hinom started to become too defensive as well. But I did have Leech. Leech, I guess, is just a very stupid spell. I mean, Dominions is mostly a very high-skilled, complex game, but Leech, there's nothing really you can do about it, except not raid with thugs and just bring a load of chaff. But then that completely limits your raiding options, and it really just shuts down thugs when you can have Raktapatas casting Leech. Maybe Leech should be Blood 2, I don't know. Don't know about that. It's a pretty crazy spell. Like, the enemy has 10 Rephite warriors, so you just turn up with a bunch of, like, 10 Raktapatas casting Leech. Seems a bit dumb. And, audience of 25 people. Yeah, that's the end of this game. I feel like Lanka is a very, very strong nation, because even obviously in the early game, in the late game, they're extremely strong, because they have blood, and they have blood summons. Like Sacred Blood summons, spammable blood 1 mages, reanimation. It's just absurd how good they are. And they have air as well for the big important spells. They just have a lot of stuff. Late game. But even early game, they're held back by how expensive these guys are. And they're held back by being a blood nation that hasn't got things up and running yet. But in the early game, like these guys in Turmoil 3, this isn't with the Turmoil 3 stats. 30 damage, 16 attack skill, and 15 defense skill, and with a bless. Almost certainly a huge bless, but I think this is a big bless nation. I think ideally you should take an imprisoned bless on like a demi-lich, and take loads of undying, and take double, maybe go up to water 6, which costs 3 extra scales compared to water 3, and take double defense skill. With double defense skill, various resistances and utility things, and like +4 strength, and plus 6 Undying, which is quite cheap, or even 7 Undying, which is cheap enough on a Demi-Lich chassis. That's like it's an okay bless for these guys. It makes them pretty tough, like plus 6, plus 9 defense with Chaos Power. This is 21 defense skill with that bless. It's devastating. Is it? No, it's not 21. It's, what am I saying? It's 15 plus 6. It's, no, not plus 6. Plus 4 defense is the bless. So 19 defense. 19 defense is tough. It's very strong. It's up to you. I think I would not take magic weapons. So I would go for an Azrapa Bless. That's an Azrapa Bless, because they're low HP but high attack and defense skill. So if you take plus 4 defense skill and plus 7 Undying, it really plays to their strength. And they also have magic weapons. So, yeah, also, obviously don't do... I think Regen Blood Bond Fire Shock would be a good choice. Why isn't this working? I can't see my Bless now. So, Heator is trash. But if I'd gone for Fire and Shock Resistance and Earth 5 instead of Fire 5, and like Undying 5 times, no, Undying 4 times instead of the Invulnerability, that would have been much better. Awake Researcher, I think, is pretty nice for Construction 2, Construction 4. You get those imps, you get those, the blood things, the blood-searching batons. What are they called? Dowsing rods? Sanguine dowsing rods. So I think an Awake Researcher like that, like this, is actually pretty solid. But probably the more generic build is to go for an Imprisoned Demi-Lich with, like I said, not a basic rainbow. You take a heavy, you take like a double-layered rainbow with lots of Undying, lots of... I think I have it saved. What I think, after playing that game, what I think is a better choice, possibly. I mean, I still have this. I still have this. This is what I would have done as a slightly different version of my Pretender. But I think probably the more generically good one, especially if you want to go with Azrapas, is this. 6 Undying and double defense skill. And apart from that, it's just... Oh, and a swiftness point. Do we have any Azrapas in that game? What are their... what is their defense skill? I don't know. Should have some over here, right? So they normally have 16 defense skill with no experience. So if you double bless that, you get up to 20 defense skill, which is pretty desirable. And then, so Regen Blood Bond is more for when you have a high HP guy like this one. Actually, looking at that, you should probably give... Wait, what? You should probably squeeze in a +1 HP on a Blood Bless if you're going to do Regen Blood Bond. But then you can't, because HP comes from Nature and Blood, and you're already doing Regen Blood Bond. Maybe you could go up to Blood 6 to bump this up 1 point. I don't know, it's probably not worth it, actually. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Pretender creation. Let's have another look at that Demi-Lich. I'm going to title this video Gamers Rise Up, I think, because of that stuff about the transgenders and the left-wingers. So yeah, Magic 2 scales, that's the main difference. No Misfortune 3. Misfortune 3 was really kind to me to begin with, but eventually it was very annoying. I wouldn't go with it. It's such a nuisance to have all that pop kill going on. And instead of Drain 3, you got Magic 2. And it's a much more reliable bless. Like you've got some magic resistance in there, you've got some Undying, you've got some poison resistance. Because I think I cast Foul Vapors on my Sacreds in one battle, and it did give them, despite their regen, it did give them a lot of afflictions. But anyway, that is all I have to say about the end of the Flavour of Defeat play-by-email game. And I am making another one. I'm making a video series now about a Yomi PBM. And in that case, I'm actually starting it from turn 1, instead of starting it from when it's turn 37 and I'm doing well and I think I might win. You know, this guy only uploads victories. This was my first ever PBM victory, by the way. Maybe I should do a little overview about how I think things went for people. I guess Yomi, Xibalba, Abyssia... No, Yomi, Xibalba, Machaka just got crushed. It happens early on to people. It happens. Theridos and Atlantis were both very strange players. because I guess Atlantis couldn't attack Theranos because of supply issues and also because of foul vapors killing all their siege chaff. But he could have won battles. So I guess Atlantis was logical to say, let's not invade Theranos. But I did find it strange that Theranos gave up on attacking Atlantis. Maybe it's because, you know, I always thought the two water nations have to fight each other. But I guess Atlantis, if Atlantis can't attack Theranos, and Theranos knows that Atlantis can't attack Theranos, because he can't siege forts, he can only raid with poison-resistant thugs, then I guess that actually destroys that rule. So I was very confused in this game when they didn't fight each other much. But that's how it goes. Niflheim, you know, he was getting stomped by Machaka, and then I came and killed Machaka and encircled him and didn't invade him because of his scales. And it was just easier to let him linger, which is a bit cruel of me. And I probably could have invaded him, but invading him would have incited Atlantis to attack me more, so it would have been annoying. Like, all of these provinces would have been getting raided, and it would have taken a while for this to pay off. And maybe I could have... I was always worried that I would screw up and get my high quality troops fatigued out in a chill aura, and then actually lose a battle that I shouldn't have. Pan didn't mass seduce me. I think both Pan players were too placid, but they did have a point. I mean, it took them a very long time to beat Vanheim and Abyssia, which is fair enough. I think it was a 1 versus 2 that Pan gradually won. And then, like I said, a blood nation like me does outscale Pan later on. Mechane was really strange. Sitting in his corner, researching like hell, getting loads of artifacts forged, all of that stuff. Why? Just invade someone. Backstab Pan. Backstab Hinnom. Sure, it'll advantage me as the game leader, but it's not about stopping the biggest power from winning. It's about trying to be the biggest power and winning. And Hinnom did pretty well, I guess. I mean, he screwed up on a couple of occasions, and his pretender god was like this giant with huge earth and blood. If he'd gone for an imprisoned, what's his scales like? Like, these are not the best scales. They're actually pretty good scales, now that I look at it. But only growth 2, that's got to hurt a bit. Especially when it goes on for 90 turns. Like his capital, what does his cap have? I think this is his cap, isn't it? Yeah. So his capital has 26,000. What the hell? Maybe this is Blood Vortex doing this. But yeah, less than 50%, less than 2/3 of my capital, which is now called Anglovania because the game bugs out when you win, apparently. Yeah, but I can't lecture people too much about their play because, as I'm sure you've realised from watching me, I'm pretty mediocre in skill myself. So takeaway lessons from this are: don't cast Hell Power unless you have a fully geared Melcast with a big Bless too, and also don't take Fire or a Heat or a Bless when your Sacreds have Fire vulnerability, and you don't have spammable Holy Threes. Also site search like hell. I don't know how many sites I would have found with just manual site searching, but I'm pretty sure I got a huge amount. I can't see them now on this turn. I'm pretty sure I got a huge number of path diversity and extra mage recruitments from casting site searching spells. So this was a poster child game, maybe because it was so passive and slow. Well, it wasn't that passive. I mean, I had all that huge raiding that nearly destroyed me and brought my income down to 1,300 gold at one point. But I think this game was a poster child for how powerful it is to have access to all 8 paths from indie mages and developing that as well. Anyhow, that really is the end. That's the end. That's all I have to say about that. Turn 91. Victory. Let's leave with this message open. Where is it? Victory. Oh, I wonder if I can actually read it. Nah, no one wants to listen to me read this out. Do they? Victory. You reign supreme. You are the Pantokrator. Your enemies are cast down, broken, dead, enslaved, or imprisoned. You are the sole author of fate. You summon the tides, dictate the seasons, give or withhold fortune and life, light up the sun at dawn and quench its fires at dusk. All moves according to your will. endless eons pass. But then, at some unknowable time, there is a change. Something stirs in the void. You perceive something reminiscent of ancient longings and doubts you thought forgotten, perhaps suggestive of a sight unseen or a tune unheard. What is this thing, this longing, this faraway, fleeting enigma? You lift your presence from the world, ascend from the thrones, and rush into the void, racing after that receding, beckoning something. Borne on wings of absolute authority, you race further and further away, chasing that sole thing that you do not understand, still further away, leaving the world behind you. It becomes a fleeting memory, a distant dream, a tune unheard, a sight unseen. Down on the world you left behind, old servants and enemies feel their chains loosen. Doors thought forever shut slowly creep open, and ancient things long thought dead stir. The thrones sit empty, but hungry eyes have turned their gaze upon them, sensing a new dawn. It sounds a bit sinister. It sounds like something actually messes with the Pantokrator's head. It could just be ennui, but I think something actually nobbled the Pantokrator. And it could be a horror. Interesting. After all, the Pantokrator, when the Pantokrator rises, he prevents the cataclysm. I think that's pretty clear. So the horrors are the natural enemy of the Pantokrator. I wonder. But see you chaps in the next video series. And maybe it will be less mediocre.